सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Let's read the first verse, invocation verse. श्रीहरिं परमानन्दम् उपदेष्टारमीश्वरम् व्यापकं सर्वलोकानां कारणं तं नमाम्यहम्। Continue the second verse. Aparokṣānubhūtirvai प्रोच्यते मोक्षसिद्धये सद्भिदेव प्रयत्नेन वीक्षणीया मुहुर्मुहुः। In this verse, Anubandha Chatushtayam, the group of four factors which bind us or connect us with the text, for whom prekshavat pravrittaye, for a person who is wise or discerning, meaning that the wise or discerning or learned people will proceed to study something only when these four factors are present. And so, presenting those four factors, also there is a pratigna, proposition by the teacher here of what it is that he is going to compose, what it is going to do. Aparokṣānubhūti vai. Vai is an indeclinable particle. Sometimes in the sense of prasiddhi, something that is well known. So Aparokṣānubhūti vai. This Aparokṣānubhūti, the self-knowledge, the immediate knowledge of the self, is Viditatmananda anubhava-siddham, something that is very well, with which the wise people are familiar with. Aparokṣānubhūti, as we discussed in the morning, the self-knowledge. What's the nature of self-knowledge? Way, that with which the wise people are very familiar. Meaning that we are not talking about something which is strange or unknown or something new, something that is familiar, something that is traditionally coming down to us. So Viditat Anubhava Prasiddha, that knowledge or Anubhuti, experience you want to call it, it is like this. When the 10th man is told, so its 10th man is searching for the 10th man. finally, when they could not find naturally, then fortunately an older gentleman is passing by. He asked his children, "What's the matter? Why you fellows so sad? We were lost, one of us. We were 10 when we left. Now we are only 9. How do you determine that you are 9? Well, I counted. Show me how you counted." He asked his friends to line up. Counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, there are only 9 people. Don't worry, my child. I'll show you where the 10th person is. Have you seen him? I have seen him. Where is he? Right, I'll show you. Count again, carefully. So now, at least this boy has now trust in this person. He has been able to command the trust of this person that he knows. So all the Shraddha again counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where is the 10th one? You are the 10th man. Well, oh yeah, I am the 10th man. Tube-light happens in his mind, I am the 10th man. So what's the nature of that knowledge of the 10th man? It's called experience of 10th man. Knowledge of 10th man. Realize it. What will you call it? I realize I am the 10th man. I see I am the 10th man. So, is seeing one's own self. It's not that he sees the 10th man as someone different from himself. In that seeing the 10th man, the duality of the seer seen is not involved. You can say, I see I am the 10th man. I know I am the 10th man. I experience the 10th man. So for that you can use whatever word you want. Similarly, I see that I am Brahman. So that seeing of my own self, because the self is always self-revealing, 10th man is always there, also reveals himself, except that this fellow's mind is just distracted on account of the notion that the 10th man is lost. So he's always searching for the 10th man outside. So when that distraction is gone, because when the old man says, I'll tell you where the 10th man is, at least the fine fellow's mind has become quiet and ready to see that fact. If normally you are the 10th man, he may not have understood what is meant by that. So he made him go through the exercise. Then he says, yes, I can see I'm the 10th, because I forgot to take myself into account. However he sees that. So how does he see himself? Not as a person, doesn't see with eyes, not even with the mind. And still he sees. That is the kind of seeing of one's own self. As I right now also see. We always have Aparokṣānubhūti, meaning we always immediate experience of ourselves. You said in the morning. Except that what is happening here is that along with the self is also mixed up what is not the self. And therefore the most important thing to do here is viveka, is to separate the self from the non-self. When we are told what are the characteristics of non-self, so I can distinguish what is non-self and I let it go. And then I see myself again as the characteristics are told. So here the point is that self-knowledge, realization is always there. In that the non-self is mixed up, and therefore all these complexes are there. So it's a matter of letting go what I am not. What remains is what I am, which is again self-shining. And so this is something possible to everybody. If it was a matter of knowing something else, experiencing something else, it's likely that I may not necessarily have the faculties of, understanding what the scientists reveal and what so I may not have. If you to go to some mountain top to see something or somewhere, then maybe we may not be able to do that. go to Brahmaloka, some place, then see, then it's possible that we may not be able to do that. But this is our own self. In the hour, everybody is qualified. It is potentially qualified. And when you know what the qualifications are required, qualifications are, then we can cultivate those qualifications, which also everybody can do. It's something everybody can do. There may be some practices that everybody cannot do. But here is something that everybody can potentially do. So, Aparokṣānubhūti, that direct seeing, perception, knowledge of myself, which is something very famous or very well known to the wise people. Prochyate, prakarshena uchyate. Now, is being told by us. So fortunately you have the word meaning also here. Prochyate, uchyate is spoken. Prochyate, prakarshena uchyate is very well spoken, very well said by us. So what is meant by very well said? The author says that we will talk about this Aparokṣānubhūti in such a manner that it leaves no doubt. Tat ashanka nirakarana purvakam. By addressing all kinds of doubts that can possibly arise in the knowledge, Siddhanta rahasya pradarshana rupena, and by displaying what the Siddhanta or what the firm conclusion is. Siddhanta, something that has been very well arrived at. The conviction, the ascertainment, meaning that we will say this or we will explain this in such a manner that a conviction or a true ascertainment happens in you without any doubt or vagueness. So we will say this Aparokṣānubhūti, the self-knowledge, in such a manner that it occurs to it, takes place in you, leaving no vagueness or doubt, such that a clear knowledge happens in you. In that manner we will tell you. So that is the commitment the teacher makes. Because the teacher is not satisfied simply by saying what he wants to say. His objective is to make the student see. Because he wants to make the student free from samsara. And that can happen only when the student gains that knowledge. So he will tell you as long as required. As much as required, in whatever manner required, such that you will clearly see, leaving no vagueness or doubt. As Lord Krishna displays in Bhagavad Gita, in 18th chapter at the end, he asks Arjuna, Arjuna, have you listened to what I have said carefully? And is your delusion gone, ignorance gone, or not? Arjuna says, yes, thank God, otherwise it would have been another 18 chapters. If Arjuna said no, then Gita would have been longer than that. That question is asked by Lord Krishna because his commitment is to make Arjuna see. So not saying what I want to say, what the teacher wants to say, what the student needs. So prochyate, that Aparokṣānubhūti is being told by us clearly. For what? So Aparokṣānubhūti becomes the subject matter. The Vishaya, the subject matter of this text is Aparokṣānubhūti. That word means both. the self-knowledge, immediate self-knowledge, or also the text, this text of which reveals the Aparokṣānubhūti. The self-knowledge also is called Aparokṣānubhūti in a secondary sense. The Upanishad means self-knowledge, but then the text that expounds that self-knowledge is called Upanishad. Like history, like geography. So book also is called history, which expounds the history. Thus the book text also is called Aparokṣānubhūti in a secondary sense. So this Aparokṣānubhūti, which is Vishaya, the subject matter, Prochyate, what for? Moksha siddhaye. Siddhaye, for acquisition of moksha, freedom or liberation. So again, what is moksha? Much is a sense of release or freedom, from which the word moksha is derived. So moksha means freedom. Or we may say unconditional freedom. So this morning we talked about unconditional happiness. Same thing can be said about unconditional freedom. That what we want is not only freedom but unconditional freedom. So British wanted to give freedom to India with conditions, That, you this much administration you will do, and then we will do this much, and then this, some kind of control. This is unconditional freedom. In the beginning, they were willing to settle with some kind of a condition. Later on, realized that we want unconditional freedom. Fellows, you are not competent to handle your problems. Leave it to us. You will get hurt. We will learn. Does not matter. We will get hurt. We will learn. We will grow. We will go through pain. Leave it to us. So it's none of your business. Because everybody has right for freedom, everybody has right also to grow, to own that freedom. Anyway, that was the freedom of the country. But the thing is, each one of us is seeking that freedom, unconditional freedom. So now and then we do experience freedom of speech and freedom of this and freedom of that, and all kinds of freedom we have. But do we really have freedom? There may be political freedom, this freedom, that. So freedom as people understand. The freedom to say what I want to say. The freedom to do what I want to do. The freedom to go where I want to go. Alright? So all that freedom is given to you. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to experience, whatever you want to enjoy, whatever you want to do. Shall we call it freedom? Is it? That is freedom in one way. There is nobody to restrict or restrain what I want to do. There is no external restraint in what I want to do, what I want to say. But understand that restraint mainly is not external, restraint is internal. It's not that the world really makes me, helpless or makes me a slave. Maybe they may try to do it. What makes me a slave is my own mind. I'm first a slave of my own mind. And then I become the slave of the world. That's what Gandhi said. That we Indians are slaves of British because we first are slaves of our own mind. Then anybody can come and conquer you, anybody can come and rule you, because ruled by our own mind. So he always preached that internal freedom first, before we get that external freedom. Anyway, but here is also, freedom is to be attained from my own self, my own mind, from my own impulses, which may be reduced to two, raga and dvesha, attachment and aversions. So attachment and aversion are the impulses which control me. Trividam narakasedam dvaram nasanam atmanah kamaha krodha tatha lobha. So Lord Krishna reduces all impulses to three: kama, krodha, lobha. The lust, anger, greed. So they control me. So I may have freedom to speak what I want to speak, all right, but do I have that? Is it not my anger that decides what I speak? Is it not my greed which decides what I do? Is it not my kama or lust decide what I enjoy? What I enjoy, I may have freedom as far as the external world is concerned. With my kama, that bhoga buddhi, that the impulse of indulgence is what controls me. My anger, very often, that controls what I speak and what I do. It's my greed that controls again how I deal with money and various other things. And therefore, as long as these impulses are there, nobody is free. When they are not there, one is free under any conditions. Whether you are in the prison, wherever you are. Because the freedom is not a characteristic or description of an external situation. Freedom is a state of mind. It is a subjective thing. So moksha is unconditional freedom. When my mind is completely favorable to me, when there is no conflict in the mind at all, when mind is totally favorable, mind is totally abiding, mind is pleased with itself, and therefore is free from the need of lust and anger and greed. So therefore freedom is when one discovers a total satisfaction or contentment with oneself, total acceptance of oneself, total freedom of all the conflicts within. That is the freedom. So moksha siddha. First of all, we should know what it is that we are seeking in our life. That we are seeking moksha, which is unconditional freedom, and that is freedom from all my impulses. But this kama, krodha, lobha, where is it born of? Avidya, kama, karma. Vedanta explains that the root of this impulse is in ignorance, self-ignorance, where ignorance is not merely absence of knowledge, ignorance is the false perception or the false knowledge. And so, the misperception, the false perception I have of myself is what causes the kama, krodha, lobha, which is what binds me. So moksha siddha, when we discover a total satisfaction with ourselves, the kama or a desire is the result of an inner dissatisfaction. As a result of Aparokṣānubhūti, a result of seeing myself for what I am, I see myself to be a complete being. There's a total satisfaction or contentment. There's no scope for any desire. There's no desire, no scope for anger. No desire, no scope for greed. And that is how this knowledge, which brings to manifestation the wholeness or completeness, which is my true nature. So that knowledge brings about what? The Paramananda, the Ananda, the totality, the wholeness of myself. When I see myself as whole and complete being, when there is total satisfaction with myself, total contentment with myself, then there is no conflict, there is no battle within, there is a total peace. When I am at peace with myself, all the internal impulses are gone. Because the cause is gone. All impulses are the effect. Remove the cause, the effect goes. Moksha siddha. For siddhi, accomplishment of moksha, unconditional freedom. Moksha will be described also, but moksha can be simply understood as freedom or unconditional freedom. Because in deep sleep also you become free, by the way. And in a moment of ecstasy also become free. But that is not freedom, that is freedom that comes and goes. And we want a freedom that comes and never goes. That's called moksha. So what's the prayojanam? What is the purpose of this text? Moksha. And therefore, who is the one who is adhikari? Who is the fit student for studying this text? Mumukshu, one wants moksha, isn't it? If the purpose of this text is to enable you to gain moksha, liberation, freedom, then who is the qualified student? Who is the competent student? One who wants freedom. So who doesn't want freedom? Yeah, yes, one wants freedom, all right. But we should also know what's the nature of that freedom. How to gain that freedom. Freedom everybody wants. And all our efforts, endeavors, whatever we do every moment is for the purpose of freedom. Unfortunately, when the freedom is not pursued properly, the very pursuit of freedom brings about more bondage. That's all. So he's unmarried because married for becoming free, so that somebody is there, to help him cooking this, that, whatnot, and feels lonely, they have children. So every effort is, this need not have to cause bondage. What I'm saying is just people, because they don't do it in a mature way. That's why what we do keeps on increasing the bondage when not done intelligently. When you live life intelligently, it becomes process of discovering freedom progressively. Live unintelligently, life becomes what? A process of increasing the freedom, bondage. As well as Swami would say, what is progress? Progress is converting luxury into necessity. Luxury is something I can do with, I need not have. Necessity is something I cannot do without. So what is progress? We are converting luxuries, which is good if it's there. Although if it's not there, necessities. If necessity is bondage, I can't do without something. So the progress, that is an expansion of what? Things that I cannot, means my bondage, my freedom, dependence. So therefore people are searching for freedom, no doubt about that. But this is an intelligent way of searching for freedom. Where is freedom? The self is the nature of freedom. Therefore, self-knowledge is the means of freedom. So that discernment has to come. So those who have discovered that is self-knowledge which is the means of freedom, means of moksha. Ahankaradi dehantan bandhan ajnana kalpitan. That all the bondage is due to ignorance, and it is ignorance of self, and therefore it is knowledge of self which is means of moksha. He is called mumuksha, or he is called jignasu. Everybody is a mumukshu. Everybody wants moksha. It's only an intelligent person knows, or a discerning person knows, that moksha, liberation, can be attained only by self-knowledge, because the bondage is the product of self-ignorance, and therefore the knowledge is the result of self-knowledge. That fellow is adhikari. Everybody is a mukshu. Because then we'll do what is required for self-knowledge. Only for that person, Aparokṣānubhūti, self-knowledge is meaningful. Otherwise it's not meaningful. You go and give lectures to millions, nobody will listen to you. They don't say in need of self-knowledge. So one way to discover the need of self-knowledge, by recognizing that self-ignorance is my problem, nothing else. Children also are not problem, and parents also are not problem. Nobody is the problem. Only self-ignorance. And all the notions and complexes born of self-ignorance, they are the problems. If they are not there, there is no problem. What is the situation? As the Swami would say, it is I who converts the situations into problems. That is uncanny knack that we have. we convert situations into problems. Because we have a problem with ourselves, and everybody else becomes a problem. When we resolve that problem, no problem with myself, no problem with anybody else. That's giving real freedom to others. Give freedom to others, enjoy. You can give freedom provided you are enjoying freedom. If you are not enjoying freedom, the so-called freedom is nothing but, being indifferent, being another kind of aversion. We can give real freedom to others when we enjoy freedom in ourselves. And therefore, that viveka is required, that discernment is required. So that discerning person is there, the adhikari, the one who will be most benefiting, will most benefit from this. So, Vishaya is Aparokṣānubhūti, purpose is moksha prayojanam, adhikari is mumukshu, the one who wants moksha with an understanding that the bondage is the product of self-ignorance, and moksha therefore is the result of self-knowledge. If you think that bondage is because I am not in heaven, bondage is because, the people are doing different things, there are so many paths are there, so many pursuits are there, so-called spiritual pursuits are there, they are all fine. People are doing different things because their perception of what the problem is, the solution will be compatible to the problem. So whatever it is, that is my understanding of the problem, that is the solution that I will adopt. So one who has this understanding, that bondage is the result of self-ignorance. Swaswarupanubodhena moktam ichha mumukshudha. It is by both the knowledge of one's own nature. So one who understands this is a mumukshu or jignasu. So our Swami would say, a mumukshu should get transformed to jignasu. Who is jignasu? The one who is desirous of knowledge. So one who is desirous of liberation becomes what? It gets transformed into one who is desirous of knowledge. As happened with Arjuna, that he got transformed. And then he says, Lord, please teach me. Became a jignasu. So there are many mumukshus and many kinds of pursuits are there, many sadhana, many spiritual practices are there. But who will be most benefited by this? The one who understands that it is self-ignorance with the problem and self-knowledge is the solution. So moksha is there for them. So all the three things are told. The subject matter, the prayojan, the purpose, adhikari, the student for whom this is written. So here next line, second line, the author recommends. What does it recommend? Sadvireva prayatnena vikshaniya muhurmuhu. Vikshaniya muhurmuhu. Muhurmuhu again and again. Vikshaniya should be meditated upon, should be contemplated upon, should be deliberated upon. Muhurmu again and again. So author says that simply by one round of this text may not be enough. It may be necessary for a person to go through again and again and again until the knowledge takes place. So author is very confident that what he is providing in this text is quite adequate for a jignasu, for a discerning aspirant to gain liberation. But depending upon what his preparation is, if he is what we Uttamahadhikari, the most prepared student, maybe one round is enough. Otherwise 2 rounds, 3 rounds, n number of rounds. But he is quite confident that what is given is enough, adequate. What you need is go through it again and again. So every time you go through, the mind gains a little clarity, little clarity, little clarity, little clarity, until the knowledge becomes very clear. So until then, Sadbihi means what? By Sad means by wise people, by discerning people. Sadbihi, who is Sat Purusha? A good person. A person committed to Sat or truth, committed to a life of virtues. Sadbihi, by the sadhus, by the aspirants, by the good people, by sincere seekers. This is worth vikshaniya muhurmuhu. It is worth deliberating upon again and again. For what? For moksha siddhi, for attainment of moksha. So Sambandha is being told. What do you need to do? This knowledge you must revolve in your mind again and again and again. That's the sadhana, that's the connection. This text and the moksha is, you don't need to do anything else. Need is to gain clarity in this knowledge. Swami always made a point, clarity is the name of the game. He would give the example of a Polaroid picture. So with a Polaroid camera, take a picture. Whose picture? Swami sitting on the chair. Pull out that frame. You see this very vague outline of Swami sitting in the chair. So vague outline also you see the Swami sitting in the chair. And then as the time goes by, it becomes clearer and clearer. And slowly you see there are the eyes, the lips, the face. And slowly features become clearer and clearer. In 2 minutes, the whole picture is very clear. So the clarity comes like that. Right away it may not come. You get the overall outlines. And then vikshaniya muhurmuhu. Vikshanam is to be done. Deliberation is to be done. Contemplation is to be done. Meditation is to be done. You must revolve this in your mind again and again and again to gain the clarity until all the vagueness and all doubts they go away. So this is called pratigna, proposition of what it is that we are doing here. Now the author proceeds, because so sadbhihi, sadhubihi. You must be a sadhu for benefiting from the upadesha or teaching of this text. Who is the sadhu? Or what does the author mean by the word sadhu? So, by sadhu is meant the sadhana chatushta sampanna. One is sampanna, who has accomplished sadhana chatushta, the fourfold qualification. So, the earlier was sadbhihi, by those who are sadhus, good people. By sadhu is meant the sadhana chatushta sampanna. One who enjoy that fourfold qualification. So what are those fourfold qualifications? Or how do you get them? How do you become a sadbhihi? How do you become a sadhu? How do you become a good person? So that is how sadbhihi means pure in the heart. Okay. How do you become pure in your heart? So who will most benefit from this text? The one who is pure in heart. How do you gain purity of heart? So next verse tells us how to gain the purity in the heart. So let's read the third verse. Svavarnashrama dharmena tapasa haritoshanad sadhanam cha bhavet pumsam vairagyadi chatushtayam. Second line says, sadhanam cha bhavet pumsam. So pumsam, for the people, for the seekers, for the aspirants, sadhanam, the means. Vairagyadi chatushtayam. So, the chatushtayam, the group of 4 qualifications, one attains. So, sadhana, what's the means of attaining that 4 qualifications? Or, what's the means of attaining that inner purity? The first line says, Sovarnashram dharmena tapasa haritoshanat. These 3 things we should have in our life. Then we gain the internal purity. Sovarnashram dharmena. By dharma. So what is meant by dharma here is the duty. The prescribed duty. So you understand, remember that this is a text composed, 1200 years ago, it was composed by Shankaracharya. So that time, there was certain order in the society. And there is a structure. So when there is a structure in my life, a structure in the society, a structure in individual's life, then you know how to relate to each other. So just as a tag is given, so and so, so tag is there, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whatever. Depending upon the disposition of mind, the tasks in the society are divided depending upon the competence, the disposition of the people, their competence, their preferences. So, you give the right kind of chore, task to the right person. That was the idea. To run the society, so many things have to be done. And everybody cannot do everything. Depending upon your disposition of mind, you will be competent to do a given thing. So what a carpenter do, that a Vedic scholar cannot do. And what that fellow can do, a fighter cannot do. So everybody can do what he can do and others cannot do. Meaning everybody comes with a very unique nature, with unique attributes, unique capabilities. An ideal thing is to assign to the person what the person is most suited for. So this was the idea of what we call the Varna Vyavastha, or looking at the arranging the society, or by distributing the tasks in this 4, what we call the caste, 4 Varna of the castes. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And then 4 stages of life, Brahmacharya, Garhastya, Vanaprastya, Sannyasa. Anyway, that's those days. Right now, of course, that kind of thing, those days it was possible to determine the caste of a person from the birth. When the system is there, then there will be also possible to decide, the disposition of a person based on the birth. But when that system doesn't remain, because following dharma, the duty always requires self-restraint. Dharma means do what is right. And they prescribe what is right for you, all right. But then, as we said, what is right always requires a restraint. Because there is usually an impulse of doing what is convenient, or doing what I like. So very often what I like is not what is right. So dharma or the duty requires me to check or restrain my tendency to do what I like and do what is right. So dharma or the duty always involves self-restraint. In most cases. A time may come that doing what is right all the time, a time will come when you are naturally, effortlessly do what is right. Then you are really established in dharma. It will happen. You keep speaking truth by controlling impulse of speaking, untruth, suppose. Because the tendency is to tell a lie, tendency to steal, the tendencies may be there. Restraining those tendencies, do what is right, see what is right. A time will come when what I do becomes truth. Meaning truth becomes spontaneous. So right dharma also can become spontaneous for a person when a person really lives a disciplined life. So swavarnashram dharmena. By dharma, meaning doing what is right. Performing one's duty. That's dharma. So right now we forget about varna and ashrama. But then we know exactly what a situation calls for. We have to ask ourselves, what is the appropriate response to a given situation? What is expected of me in a given situation? And so Swami would say that in every situation we play a role. We play a variety of roles. Father, mother, son, daughter, husband, wife, master, servant. Every moment we play a role. And there is a script for every role. As in a play or a drama, there is a script for a role. So also, there is a script of the right way of playing every role. That script is called dharma. And therefore, I must be true to my role. That's all. As father, there is the dignity that a father has, dignity that a mother has, dignity that a son has, daughter has, a citizen has. Everyone has a dignity. And therefore, I conduct myself in a dignified way, in a responsible way, in a mature way. That's called dharma. And that will happen when whatever I do is done in the spirit of contribution. Then only it will be really a dignified way. As a father also, when I am relating to my children, my relation is one of contributing to them. Not what they will do for me when they grow. I am doing right now this for you. What are you going to do for me? That stuff is not there. Ideally, it may be there, but thus real dharma is where there is always a spirit of contribution, spirit of offering, spirit of letting go. It involves maturity, responsibility, and is self-restraint, and also a spirit of contribution. That's real dharma. So dharmena, let us use swarvanashrama, we'll forget. But dharmena, by dharma, by living a life of maturity, living a life of contribution, living life intelligently. Number one, tapasa. Tapas means austerity. In fact, living life of dharma itself is austerity. What is austerity? Austerity is the suffering or the pain or suffering that I willingly do. And so, of course, here they will say Krucha, Chandrayana, etc. Tapasa. Tapas means austerity. But austerity, you can say that at individual level, it is minimum demand or minimum consumption. So in dharma, I have a commitment to fulfill the need of others. In duty, in every situation, when I perform the duty, the need of the one I am bound to duty, I am duty bound. As a son, if I am bound to duty to my parents, then their need becomes more important than my need. So in dharma of the duty, our needs are always subservient to the needs of others. So that's how all the time a sacrifice, the letting go is involved. So that's when I relate to others. What about my individual level? Tapasa. Individual commitment to consume the minimum. To contribute the maximum, that is dharma, and to consume the minimum, that is called tapas or austerity. And that consumption of minimum requires self-restraint, of course. Because I must keep under check the impulses or the desire of indulgence, in my senses and my mind. And so tapas or austerity means freedom from all indulgence, freedom from all excesses, and just consuming what is absolutely required. That will make you sadhu anyway. So tapas. Usually tapas means fasting, that is all fine. But real tapas or austerity is consuming the minimum. Dharma is, yoga is contributing the maximum, and tapas is consuming the minimum. So svavarna ashrama dharmena tapasa haritoshanat. So haritoshanat, by propitiating or satisfying or pleasing the Lord, Hari. Again Hari came, Shri Harim Paramanandam, now again Haritoshanat. So people, they ask sometimes, who is the Ishtadevata of Shankaracharya? He himself was the incarnation of Lord Shiva. Shiva is always the devotee of Vishnu, Vishnu is devotee of Shiva and Shiva is devotee of Vishnu. So I guess, Adi Shankaracharya, being the incarnation of Lord Shiva, was a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Hari comes again and again. Anyway, this is all for the scholars. And I don't think it's very important, but so Hari Toshanat, Toshanam, propitiating the Lord, by propitiating Hari, by propitiating Ishvara. By doing that, which will please Ishvara. And then every time when I am about to do something, I have this resolve in my mind. May the Lord be pleased with what I am about to do. Understand that He witnesses everything. I cannot escape from Him. I can close all my doors, all curtains, nobody sees me. Then I think I am free to do what I want to do. Not quite. Because He always sees me. He is the very witness in my mind. And therefore, every thought also is this is a tough job, because it's like these days you have those, the what do you call them? This closed circuit TV, CCTV, closed circuit TV. They have everywhere. In the United States, every intersection there is a TV camera. They tell you, of course, that you are being surveyed, there is surveillance here. They need not, but they tell you. And so, there is a CCTV right within. So every thought of mine also is taken note of. And therefore, it is not merely what I do, but even what I say and what I think. And so by word, by the thought, by word, by deed. Pleasing Ishvara. Doing what will please Ishvara. What will please Ishvara? If you are Ishvara, what would you do? Ishvara means Lord. Lord Krishna says, Pitahamasya Jagadha Mata Dhata Pitamaha. I am the father of the whole universe. I am the mother. I am the grandfather. So as father of all the living beings, what would you do? What would a father do? What would a mother do? What would a parent do? The parent is committed to the well-being and happiness of the progeny, is it not so? So as Ishvara, so how will Ishvara be pleased? We do what He likes us to do. What would He like? He would like that we also take care of all His progeny, all our brothers, meaning that, so when I am committed to a life where I do not hurt anybody, not only that but I help everybody, so that's the attitude that I have. I mean the values of compassion, values, so these are the values, that's what will please Ishvara. Haritoshanat. So Bhagat Pritikarat, Sarvabhuta Daya Lakshanat, Karma Visheshat. Or Haritoshanam. Pleasing the Lord also can mean specific acts of worship that I perform. So already there is dharma in my life. Where I relate to others, in the spirit of duty or spirit of offering. I relate to myself as the one who is committed to minimum consumption. How do I relate to the Lord? By worship. So let there be worship in the life. That means that in every spiritual seeker there must be prayer and worship. Haritoshanam, propitiating the Lord, pleasing the Lord. So some people do Vedanta doesn't require bhakti. Doesn't require any, you don't require any worship. Vedanta is Vedanta. Alright, maybe it's for whom? For the highest students. Yeah, you can say that. Those who have gone through this, then you don't require. So you don't require something provided you already gain what that thing has to offer. But here, the very teacher of Vedanta tells us, Haritoshanat. That means that for inner purity. So these are the three things that are told to us for cultivating inner purity. Dharma, tapas, and haritoshanam, pleasing the Lord, worshipping the Lord. So worship in many ways. Bhakti or devotion to the Lord. You can say that Ishvara will be pleased by bhakti or devotion, which bhakti is expressed in form and action. And so Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, etc. Meaning all that we do in terms of worship, in terms of singing His glories, singing His praise, listening to His glories, Shravanam, listening to His glories, Kirtanam, singing His glories, Smaranam, remembering Him, doing japa, etc. Padasevanam, performing puja, making offerings. So all of this is part of the bhakti or the means of pleasing the Lord. So you may say haritoshanam, propitiating the Lord, may mean performing special actions which are intended for Ishvara. See, what happens is that Ishvara in the form of the universe, of course, is to be pleased ideally. As Ramana Maharshi would say, Jagat Ishadi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Vrud Deva Puja. Ramana Maharshi would say that worshipping, serving the Jagat as Ishvara itself is Ishvara, worshipping Ishvara. But it's tough to worship Jagat, The toughest people, the greatest challenge we have is worshipping the human beings. Pleasing human beings is the biggest challenge that we have. You can please your pet and you can please all those fellows all right, Dogs and cats and things, you can please them easily. But pleasing other human beings is a tough job. Because there's uncanny knack, they keep on pushing your buttons. So then you need an environment where your buttons are not pushed. So dharma means you have to interact with the world and your buttons will be pushed. Okay? So then you find a time where you are with Ishvara by yourself. It's called puja. That's the worship. Where the altar is there and you are there. And usually the devatas are always smiling. One good thing about all the Hindu deities, they are always smiling. Meaning, when you see the smile is of acceptance and love. So here you feel accepted and comfortable. Here is a place where you are comfortable. When you are comfortable, then you can be honest. You need not pretend to be different. When I am with the world, usually some pretension is always involved. I rarely really display myself as I am. It's always politically correct. I always behave in a manner which is diplomatically correct. I don't come across as I really am. I try to come across as you want to see me, or as I want you to see me. But with Ishvara, I can just come across as I am, with all my weaknesses, all my shortcomings, because I know that he will not reject me. I'm afraid the world will reject me to find out Swami is like this, he does this, and he also can do that. He thinks like this. So I'm afraid that I may be rejected by the world. But here is one place where I know that I will not be rejected. Therefore I can afford. With the world, I cannot afford to display myself or expose myself as I am. They say that your husband also is not totally honest even with the wife, let alone with anybody else. Because, everybody needs acceptance. Here is one place where it can be totally honest, comfortable, accepted. So worship creates an atmosphere in our own mind where you are what you are, without any pretension. And then with that, you make offering to the Lord. You recite His name. You think of Him, sing His glories, listen to His glories, make offerings, whatever your mood permits, relating to Ishvara. And relating in as a devotee, worship of Ishvara. So Haritoshanat, by worship of Ishvara. So dharma, tapasya means austerity, and haritoshanam by worshipping the Lord. These three things this author prescribes. For what? For vairagyadi chatushtayam sadhanam pumsam bhave. Is quite confident. By doing that human beings were able to discover bhave, it happens, So there is another reading, prabhavet. Prabhavet means it will happen. When you do this, vairagyadi chatushtayam, the fourfold qualification, beginning vairagya or displeasure, will occur, will happen, will manifest itself in your mind because it's already there. Basically, the mind possesses all these qualifications. We possess them. It is the adharma, it's the opposite of this. So dharma brings it out, adharma suppresses it. Austerity brings out. Indulgence is opposite. The worship brings it out. Whereas violating what Ishvara likes, just the opposite. So a life where I violate Ishvara's rule, a life where there is indulgence, a life where there is no responsibility, dharma means no responsibility. So that's a life which just in fact makes my mind more and more impure. And this is what the purity is there. Impurity is only incidental. Impurity is not the nature of my mind. Purity is the nature of my mind. But impurity comes on account of the unintelligent living, like this. Like indulgence is unintelligent. Irresponsible, unintelligent. No offering, no worship, unintelligent. Intelligent living. So that way, what is inherent in me, that purity becomes manifest. As impurity is removed, the purity becomes manifest. And when the mind becomes pure, the so-called qualification, viveka, vairagya, all of these also will manifest. So either you call it purity of mind, or you call it sadhana chatushtayam, the fourfold qualification. Prabhavet. No separate effort. You do this, and that will automatically come. So that is prescription that the author gives us, that this was sadbhi, the one who is a satpurusha, one who enjoys purity of mind. How do you gain purity of mind? By doing this. So, how do you recognize now that there is vairagya in you, viveka in you? Then they will tell us what these fourfold qualifications are, so that we know that mind is getting purer. Or how to cultivate those fourfold qualifications when we know what they are. So that will be next described in the following verses. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.